Hello and welcome back to the Talking Football podcast with me, Jacob Cullip.
And me, Miles Rees.
We are back after a little bit of a week break.
Yeah, week gap in between the episodes. But we're back and ready to go.
Back and ready to go. It's good to be back. Good to be back. Hello. Got to get that in. Oasis not the only people who are back. Come on.
So I had no idea what you're referencing there, mate, until you said it. So
Come on. Oasis are back. We're back. It's what a time to be alive.
You're buzzing, aren't you? Absolutely buzzing.
Oh, it's Christmas Day has come early. So
pretty much for you, mate. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Everyone's going to be trying to get tickets. Come on.
Yep, and you'll be first in queue, I'm sure.
First in queue, last to leave with nothing.
Yeah, most likely. You can only give it a go, though. You can only give it a go.
Well, you got to try the things, but the viewers and listeners are in the perfect queue for today because they're getting straight into the content.
Absolutely, no advert breaks here. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not yet.
No, we're not rich enough yet, or not popular enough.
Yeah. Our DMs are here.
Any brands wanting to tap us up, feel free.
We are available.
Absolutely.
But speaking of branding, it's actually quite a funny topic for today.
Yeah, so on the topic of, well, not really branded, but it sort of links in, doesn't it? We're going to have a discussion with everyone today about how social media has affected football. So the different impacts of it. I was trying to think earlier when social media really became a thing with football, because I've only been watching football the last 10 years. It's always been a thing. You've always been able to see Twitter and Instagram from when I was following football. But I'm trying to think now when it really came into effect, social media properly. Probably like late 2000, maybe. I'd have a guess.
I don't.
Something like that.
Obviously, I'd probably say from when I remember, like going on like social media about football was probably about 2013, 14, probably around then, because AFTV were just about to pop off. Then that was their first viral video. Then you had was a Full-Time Devils, which were then you had Redmond TV, who are still going now, obviously. So that was like the main core for it. Then obviously, and they're still relevant now. United Stand still like going, that started 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So the elongation of these fan channels was really the start from what I remember on social media.
Probably that, but you had like forums back in the day, didn't you? Different forums.
Yeah.
YouTube, I guess, was sort of early phases. What 2007, 8,
2000. Yeah, about that. That's what I remember.
Something YouTube. Like that. Anyway, social media's not long been around really in the grand scheme of things.
No.
And obviously it's had a big effect really, isn't it, on football and just everything else that happens in our weird, wonderful game.
It's just question over the beautiful game. That is the question we want answering.
Yeah, how much does it actually impact it, and is it even a good thing necessarily? Because everyone's got an opinion now. Everyone's got an opinion.
Everyone's got an arse. Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, that is true. That is two things everyone does have.
We're all common ancestors, and we all have that.
Exactly.
But no, I'd say the most important part is probably the controversial part is the social media, isn't it? Really, that's kicking things off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just there's a few different things we're going to talk about. The sort of topics we'll go through today. First of all, we got the sort of effect on the players themselves and how they're impacted by it. Then about the sort of branding, exposure, TV revenue as well that's come into it in more recent years. And the last part to go through is just about a few clubs that have used it really well to their advantage. I won't spoil them now, but I'm sure people can guess who they might be. All up and down the pyramid, not just big clubs, but small clubs as well. So let's just kick things off, mate. Say effect on the players. So what I thought in terms of effect on the players, obviously I've never played at professional level, funny enough.
Funny that.
No, I was never good.
Sitting here on as of Thursday night recording a podcast. No, we're not playing professional football.
We're not indeed. No, we're in our bedrooms. But no, I mean, you never know, mate. When I played Bexley United under 14s, I might have a scout. You never know.
You could get in Borough's first team at this rate.
Never know. We're playing well. Don't need me.
Straight in the midfield.
Well, I'm not sure about that, mate. It'd be absolute carnage.
Well, we all remember the Glencoe goal, nearly 10 years. Come on, straight in midfield.
I'll bring that one up. Get that one. You never know. The scouts might have seen it. Yeah. Well, I completely lost topic now, mate. So anyway, yeah, I never played football, is what I was saying, at a very high level. But in terms of the effect on the players, I can imagine it's stressful, mate. To be honest, social media, like obviously there's good parts to it. Like you get more exposure as a player. You can interact with some positive fans. You can see what's going on, get the news of the industry, etc. But also like the pressure under it as well. Like anyone's got an opinion just to be like, sorry, mate, you were terrible today, or worse. I'm just being nice for PG. I'm sure much worse is said.
Yeah, I think we know that.
Yeah. But how would you feel, do you think, as a player with social media? Because some don't have it, do they, at all? They don't like using it, so.
And obviously, not all the players control their social media. It's down to their media
No,
teams as well.
that's a good point. It's a good
Mm.
point. Different PR teams and that, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think some obviously footballers have different mentalities, and obviously we all like do. But I'm a bit half and half on it, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
it can be used for good. Obviously, like, training videos, winning team. God, we all remember that winning team post every week for Man United for about 3 years, and that annoyed everyone.
Well, you might, mate. I know and
Mm,
follow you.
But it was just like winning team every single time. I just remember Ronaldo Matic going, yeah, like that.
Oh, right, okay. Some cringy post.
But that's the stuff that fans don't relate to, and especially after you lose a game, you're just like, really? I think
Oh, mate.
that is the unaware self-awareness of social media and the PR teams. That's the bit that I don't like, and obviously, like players are like that as well. They'll be like, "We fought for you, well, we fought for you today," and it's all just all that rubbish when you clearly know that they down tools in that way. Obviously they use it to get their message across, and not every fan's going to bite it, and I think players can not be aware in that way, but
Mhm.
obviously they don't mean it on purpose half of the time because it is their media teams. But I think sometimes players do need to read the room about posting because fans are not stupid. We
Yeah,
know that.
absolutely, mate.
But
It was
obviously
it was almost a classic.
mm,
It was the footballers lose. Oh, fans were superb. We gave it everything. We couldn't quite get a result on to Saturday or something. It's always a standard
yeah,
post, isn't it?
even that's still like a 2 years ago thing. No one does that anymore.
No. I think people are wised up to it now, haven't they?
But that was the stuff like 2 years ago. It was just, as you said, there was the unawareness of like, oh, we'll just say that to the fans and it'll do it. But fans, like, obviously with all the fan content now, like, people are not quiet about it. They're just
No.
like, we're going to say, as long as they say in a constructive way, or obviously we lose our rage. And obviously, if you lose 7-0, you're not going to be like, oh, unlucky today, lads. We lost 7-0, but you gave it a good
Unfortunately.
go. It's like, no, we're going to be absolutely fuming. It's like, mm,
Yeah, 100%, mate. Unless you play for our six-a-side team shed, in which case we'll be quite happy to lose 7-0, mate. Yeah, back on a weekly basis. No,
was
I
that,
think
yeah.
go on, mate.
Yeah, well, thank you. But obviously, and then obviously, like the money equation comes into it. Oh, he's on 300 grand a week, so it should be trying hard. Well, you should be trying hard if you're earning what £10 a week.
Yeah.
You
Effort's got
should.
to be
I
the same,
think
isn't it?
trying hard and effort, yeah, but you should be trying hard effort in whatever you do, and that's why. Oh, but at least they tried hard, yeah. But that's just like the bare minimum,
Yeah, you
like
shouldn't need a social media post to sort of put that out there, should you? It should be just given you give your all for the badge. One thing that annoyed me though last year was, and I really like Eastbourne on social media, and I think it's done wonders to the club. I mean, we've got more than 100k Instagram followers now, which for a sixth tier side is really
mm,
impressive. But it was like when we were on our losing streak last year, and then we get like, what's your favorite emoji comment, like videos on the Monday morning after we just got tonked 4-0 at the weekend, like that sort of thing is you got to read the room as you say, haven't you?
yeah,
And especially the not being stereotypical, the more older fans, they're the first ones to jump and criticize social media when things go wrong.
yeah.
They're the ones that are going to start calling it out, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Mm.
obviously, yeah, in terms we've talked about more than sitting on the fence. But I suppose the more negative side, obviously, the player's mental health does have to come into effect.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, especially
It
if you get
definitely
people
has to.
abusing them.
Mm.
Yeah, because there's an advert with BT put out, and it was like the person behind the player or something like that, wasn't it? It was like different things that players get called and
Yeah.
names on social media, etc. And it's just unacceptable, really, because they're just trying to do their job at the end of the day, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As long as like, there's one thing I don't agree. It said useless. I don't think useless is a. Well, I don't know. It's got defend, which obviously you say, but I don't think when people say that word, it's not in jest to say they're actually useless. It's just like the heat of the moment thing. That's when I hear that
Yeah,
word. It's the other words where you're like, bit over the edge.
I think a lot of time them words taken out of context as well. Like
Yeah.
when people say like useless obviously means you got no use. You might as well not be there. But I think a lot of time that's just it's always overreactionary.
Oh
Though, isn't it?
yeah.
And people and fans and say stuff online or even in the stands, you hear it, don't you? On some,
Oh, so
unfortunately,
I've heard a
sometimes.
lot of from the stands.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. But yeah, I just say adds that pressure, doesn't it? And mental health got to be considered. Just going on to more a lighter side of things, the PR mistakes. Do you remember when Wanyama put about his spaghetti, saying it was
That's a
he had a
blast.
bowl,
Twitter blast from the
had a
past of
bowl of
that.
spaghetti. It was very nice, something like that, wasn't it? Absolutely quality tweet that was.
But that's another thing as well. Have players lost? You know, you got to be so robotic. You know, see, like Haaland's probably the only like one that doesn't really care. It's like
No.
now that, oh, you know, we played well today. You know, the lads did really well. We won 4-0. It was a great performance. I scored a hat trick, but I sound in the most monotone voice there is. But then, like back in the day, it's like, oh, you know, Gascoigne after the semi-final against was it Arsenal in '91. It's just like, oh, I'm absolutely buzzing, you know, like and all that. I'm not going to attempt to do an accent, but
No, don't do that, mate. You're embarrassing.
but that's the thing. It's just like I think we want players to be like relatable because obviously we're like you know we are the people, the common people. In if we're going off Britpop terms, going back to classic '90s songs again, but. But obviously, you know, it's just like you want people to relate to.
Yeah, 100%.
There's going to be so many
100%.
90s references today.
I'm going to tell you, chucking them in there, mate. Yeah, I'm getting thrown a curveball here. I have no idea what you're talking about, but carry on, mate. That's all good.
You know, common people by pulp if people don't understand. But so you want like people to relate to, and you know it's the human aspect, and that's the thing that you want.
Yeah, you don't want PR machines, do you? I think like Haaland's a bit more like Zlatan, isn't he? I know they're both Scandinavian, so it's easy to compare. But I like the players that just sort of say it how it is, and you don't get that sort of. Obviously, you've got to have some sort of filter, but you know what I mean. You don't want players being like, "Oh yeah, lads were good today. It was a good result for the team. We move on to this one." You want to say it how it is, sort of thing, don't you? Sometimes it's like Charlie Austin. Remember when he went that rant about VAR and that? It was brilliant. You want more of that from players, don't you?
Roy Keane has entered the chat.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
The man with no filter.
Man's got no filter sometimes.
Makes for good TV though.
Yeah, it does, to be fair. Yeah, so I think for players, it really depends how they use it, isn't it? If they use it well, and if they don't take it too seriously, I'd say that's the main thing, isn't it? Don't take it too much to heart. I guess people always be negative, unfortunately. But if they sort of use it in the right way and don't look at it after a bad result, it's probably the best way to go forward, isn't it? So I'd say it's good for players, but I'd say it's more beneficial for clubs and for TV exposure, which we'll get onto now, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so with the TV exposure, I'm for one, just to bring up first of all, I hate the way Sky, TNT, Amazon Prime, like it's such a rip-off, mate. You have to pay like I don't remember how exactly how much you pay, but you probably have to pay what £45 a month at least to get all three. Probably something like that. 40 quid, isn't it, to get all three?
Non-confirmed.
Like, you're like this is a man here, by the way, for the listeners. It doesn't pay the bill for the sports in his house, so
if your dad's paying for it, come on.
Exactly, mate. He's completely free. Me, on the other hand, oh, blimey now. Yeah.
Actually, I am paying for the BT. Actually, I am paying for the BT now.
Oh, you know. Oh, there we go. There you go. Look at him. He's growing up now.
Confirmed.
He's growing up. He's got a job, and he's getting his payments BT now.
See, I'm doing well.
Yeah, but it's expensive though. It's so expensive, and clubs in other countries, fans in other countries, they'd have to pay no near as much. Like, I think like Fox Sports or whatever, America, you get for like, I don't know.
You get all the games.
Yeah, I know. It's a joke, isn't it?
Absolute joke. You're paying all like, and that was the thing, like a topic. Will the Premier League eventually create its own Netflix sort of style streaming, like what Amazon, you know, did, where all the games are available at a certain time? That will just become available at some point, but they won't come into effect to at least 2029 because of the Sky Sports viewership, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I mean, if to be honest, I'd be up for a cheaper platform where you can get all of the games, you know, 3 o'clock, 12:30, you name it. You get all the games, and it's just one price, and that's it. No, I think that'll be, and obviously, like, that's not a very good competition for the market. I doubt that'll ever happen. But I feel like that'll be much better for a viewer rather than have to pay for 3 different things and 3 different platforms and have different passwords and that. It's just a faff, mate. Just a faff.
So, but the one obviously common that's used against the 3 p.m. blackout, because if people don't know in the
Yeah.
UK, we have the 3 p.m. blackout. It was
Yeah.
brought in so many years ago now. It's
Quite
been
a long time ago.
it's
Much
been
more my
with
time.
since we've been alive. But
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was to
yeah.
get people to non-league grounds. But the problem I think now is more people are turning to non-league, than people who go to non-league anyway. I'd say even if the Premier League, if we're still doing free cup, I would still go. You would still go. It's not.
100%.
I still don't think it's going to change anything, even because people watch the games now, obviously illegally, obviously through the sticks, which have become was it
Mhm.
huge, but people are going to do that anyway, so it's not going to entice people to go and go and not watch non-league. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, I've just done a little Google. 1960 was the 3 p.m. blackout
Yeah,
start.
so over 64 years.
Yeah, I know, and it was introduced by Burnley chairman Bob Lord. Apparently, don't quote me on that. I'll just
Bloody
search it and found it on some
Burnley. Hmm,
website.
bloody
Yeah,
Burnley.
there you go. But it's Burnley's fault. Blame Burnley. Um,
Yeah, get it, Tronny.
yeah. No, 3 p.m. blackout. I can see why it was introduced, just to help like clubs in lower levels not have to lose revenue for people not going to games. But to be honest with you, mate, I don't think it really made much difference. Like, if there was like Bournemouth versus, I don't know, Southampton on the TV at 3, I'm not watching that over going down to watch actual football. Like, no
Yeah.
chance. I guess for some people it may, if like Man United were playing or Liverpool were playing, they might choose to stay at home and watch it. But I don't think I think the difference that people make out or make is negligible compared to what it actually would. Because it's not just like watching football when you go to a game; it's the social aspect, isn't it? And just seeing your mates or whatever, and
Mm.
being at the ground rather than just sitting at home.
Yeah, it was absolutely, and it's been for so long, and as I said, obviously people's was opinions and on football clubs and stuff have changed over a course of 60 years. So you can't base the current modern day society, and it's like for anything, but societal norms back then are very different to they are now 64 years later.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
can't judge. It's like trying to teach your kid the way your was it granddad was all those years ago, even though society's changed. It's like what's the point in teaching that
yeah.
then?
Not going to work, is it? Nah, you'll
Yes.
be out of touch. Be out
Mm-hmm.
of touch. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think non-leagues change a lot. I know we went into this last time, so I won't go too much into it. But in terms of viewing, people want to go watch non-league now. I think more than they did back in the day. So
Yeah.
maybe the 3 p.m. blackout was brought in at the time because people didn't want to watch like non-league if they didn't have to. They'd rather watch, say, a Division One game would have been at the time, wouldn't it?
Mm.
So I guess now as non-league's more affordable for people, as you said, it's more sort of true to what football used to be like, no VAR and that sort of thing. People would rather go down and watch it anyway. So as I say, nowadays I don't think it make much difference if the 3 p.m. blackout if it was taken away. I think it'd be better to be honest, because at least people get the option to watch games if they want to.
Yeah, was absolutely, and said social media was a change through all that as well, and that's helped with society and
Yeah,
people's opinions on like 3 p.m. blackouts and all that. So people are having an opinion on it. But
yeah.
another thing about like non-league, which you refer, we'll talk about although some non-league clubs and people who are non-league clubs that do use social media well, which we talked
Yeah,
about Eastbourne, who use it very well.
the best we can, I think.
The best that we can.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'd say the number one probably for, or at this point, my opinion, but the team have been around for nearly 10 years, which makes me sound old.
that's crazy. I know you're referring to me. We got three to talk about, and I didn't know when you're going to start with. So,
Well, you got to start with this one. You got to
yeah,
hashtag it, of course.
don't forget, don't
Don't
forget.
forget.
Yeah, were you there
Remember
in the
the
face of
iconic
Mansfield
duo,
Rangers?
the iconic duo. We always remember
I don't know what one you mean. Do you mean Ryan Adams and Dan Brown, or do you mean Stevie CB and Sawney
the
Dorney,
double
mate?
duo, obviously.
Uh,
Stevie CB on the physio bench.
that's it. I think people of our generation, as in like, I don't know, I think probably if you're born in 1997, for example, or to 2008, that sort of 10-year gap, I think that's the people that would have watched like hashtag growing up. I think for
Hmm.
not be no offense, but people of sort of over 30, I doubt that they watched them that much.
You're making
And
us
then
sound old,
equally,
Amos.
yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, don't offend our viewer base. Apologies if you are over 30.
Back
I
in
don't mean
my day, I
offence.
was watching Ryan Adams,
We're watching
Stevie
Ryan
CB
Adams.
on the physio bench.
That'll be us in the pub, mate.
Yeah.
We're 60.
Saundy Dawney on camera duty.
Anyway, yeah. Hashtag were a club born for social media, weren't they? Were founded obviously by Spencer Owen, famous YouTuber, influencer, I guess you could say nowadays. I hate the term, but he founded them, and it was really just a bunch of mates, wasn't it? They just turned up, filmed some content, people liked it, and it grew and grew. Now they're in the non-league pyramid, only a step below Eastbourne in the Isthmian Prem, so that's 7th tier and step 3 of non-league. But yeah, it's quite incredible, really, their story, what they've done. They've got millions of fans all over the world, get people traveling in from like Singapore, Indonesia. I think people come from like Brazil just to watch a game, which is crazy. Absolutely mental. But it's really impressive because they've got a YouTube channel. They put like the highlights on their YouTube channel of their games, and even nowadays it's like really well produced. I watch most videos, and they'll do like all the behind the scenes interviews of players, talk about like the tactics and that as much as they can do. They can't share too much because people watch it. And other clubs can go on there and find out information, of course.
They're playing a 4-3-3 today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get the old and end of the games.
It'll be like the Office meme. It's like David Brent. It's just like, oh, get that out. It's like, get the Spencer YouTube channel out.
Yeah, that's it. Get the Spencer YouTube channel out and start doing discounting. I'm sure teams use it though. I'm sure clubs.
Oh yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, why not? I'd absolutely be doing the same, mate. If I were them.
Any advantage? Like then they do like the Arteta meme. It's just like nice kick about with the lads today, and they'll replace that image and just put Spencer's YouTube channel.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Hello, mate. Welcome back to another video." They're watching that in the team talks.
Then he'll be like Arteta again. It's just like when he's like watching, it's like, "Oh, when I lose a duel, I am upset. I don't want to lose to Spencer."
Oh dear me.
Arsenal or Nothing was hilarious for the memes.
Yeah, Arsenal
all or Nothing. Yeah,
that's a good documentary on the social media, isn't it? It's another thing that
is another thing
from that.
Not the Spurs one, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's amazing though, like the amount of access we get nowadays as football fans. Because take it back as even 10 years, you're not getting any of this.
Oh, imagine it under Fergie.
Yeah, it would have been mental, wouldn't it?
Oh, we would have the proper the David Beckham boot incident. We'd have that on tape.
That's the first thing that came to mind as well. Yeah. Chucking a shoe at his head.
And Roy Keane bust up as well.
Yeah. I read the book for Roy Keane recently. It's quite a good read. Yeah,
it would definitely be a bit of fun. Yeah, but it was like talk about rock and roll even like 10, 15 years ago. God, it's all gone. Let's say soft. Oh, it's all woke, utter woke nonsense. But there we are.
That's your favourite phrase, isn't it? Then
it's just that Sean Dyche phrase, utter woke nonsense. We use that in our football chat a lot.
Yeah, you like to put that meme in there, don't you?
Yeah, it's quite funny, to be fair.
It's always a classic one. No, but I think like hashtag have been so good for the whole social media influence. I think it's got a lot of people into football that wouldn't do normally. Like they're quite an inclusive club, aren't they? They've got a lot of different people from different backgrounds, different situations. It's sort of quite an inclusive club, and people that maybe don't have a club they to support because they're not local to one, potentially don't feel connected to their area, or don't have like a team from their dad to support, for example. But I think hashtag is a good club to support in that sense because you watch all their games. They've got membership streams, and you can watch their games in full if you want to. Or obviously you can go in person if based in Essex. And it just really makes it more accessible for fans, really, putting all their content out there. And even just generally in terms of clubs, like before, even 2 years ago, Eastbourne, you'd never get the sort of content we get nowadays. Now, just like look at training, have interviews for players. That was never even a thing before. And now we've got all this good social media content. It really brings the club closer to fans, I think, and you get access.
Well, we could have got the Danny Blore crossing masterclass if it was 2 years ago.
That would have been good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
We do not cross this ball. We do not cross this ball.
Don't know. That's Danny Blore's favourite phrase. It was, do not cross this ball. It's all he used to say.
Hi.
God. Yeah. Well, poor Kai. He got abused every game.
We were right near the touchline then.
Yeah. If you were left, what would it have been? Left back defending that side. Yeah. He was stuffed.
We do not cross this ball.
Yeah, that's it. He got absolutely pelted every game.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Kai.
That proper non-league football.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, we've got a lot of love for hashtag though. A lot of love. They've got themselves from playing against amateur sides. Like they played against Comedians 11, which was like Lloyd Griffiths in goal at one point.
And that's a joke in itself.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, exactly. I think they put like 10 past them at least. Playing clubs like that to then playing against like Braintree Town FA Cup a few years ago. Now playing a league with Dartford FC. Who else? Wasn't it? Lewis, etc. Famous non-league clubs. So it was really impressive. It's really impressive.
I was going to say one of the I'd say things I'll be used against hashtag is obviously, oh, it's a social media club. Obviously, it's not a real club.
Oh, people get so
It's
much
not
stick
traditional.
online, give so much stick online for that as well.
And obviously, Cesar, Cesar Azpilicueta, famous footballer, from
Yep,
who used to play for Chelsea,
your mate,
obviously
you
has
love
put
him.
money into the club as well. So people are going to use that, saying, "Oh, it's funded by a player. It's getting loads of money and all
Mm.
that." So that's one of the things you can use against hashtag. But I personally, I'm not affected. But I think it's personally good for football.
Mate, good luck to them, honestly. Like they're bringing exposure to the game. I don't know, there's nothing stopping all these other clubs, like your classic non-league clubs. I mean, like your Corinthian Casuals, your Tooting and Mitchams. I'm just thinking of some random names. No offense to those clubs, but they're just standard non-league clubs, and they're always going to remain in the same division because they always do things the same way, and they recruit the same way, and they've got the same crowds coming in because nothing ever changes, and they're going to stuck on like 200 attendances all the time. Whereas, why not have a bit of ambition? Like teams like
It's about
hashtag.
life, really.
Like, have you heard of SE Dons as well?
Mm,
You've heard of SE Dons before?
I have.
Yeah, SE Dons. So they did like Sunday League videos, and now they're in the pyramid as well. They've entered it this year. I think like 11th tier they're in now.
Yeah, right at the
Um,
bottom, aren't they?
yeah, right at the bottom. Yeah, where hashtag started pretty much. But yeah, they're using like their culture community for good, and they're trying to grow their club. So fair play to them. Don't see how anyone can knock that really.
So they're doing it for good reasons. It's not obviously,
Yeah,
but money is important. I think that's the thing about life as well. As soon as people think you're like, what they think, and know you're earning money from something, they go, "Oh, they're only doing it for the money." And it's just like, yeah,
yeah,
but money is important, but like there is things more important than money, and that's obviously with the family values that a football club can bring. The fact, the enjoyment and despair, obviously, as much as we hate it, it can bring to
mm,
people, and
yeah.
that's just what football is.
Yeah, on the esports example, man, it's no secret that Simon's put a lot of our own Simon Leslie's put a lot of money into the club from his own funds. And he's definitely not making money, not yet anyway. That's the goal, that's the dream, isn't it? But it's just passion of the game, really, and trying to make something better for the community.
Yeah, was absolutely, and obviously there's a lot of opinions, and of Simon, but you cannot doubt that he doesn't try hard.
No, exactly. Puts a lot of effort into it. And that's all you want the fans, really. You want them to an open, honest chair, and it's going to put their heart and soul into it, don't you?
Exactly. Also, like other clubs like with Dorking and Wrexham. Obviously, Wrexham are the big one, but I think we should talk about Dorking first.
Dorking first, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched Bunch of Amateurs before?
Not personally, so I think this is a bit more of your area.
This is my expertise. I
Mm.
I absolutely love so Dorking Wanderers. I won't go into the history because there's tons of videos out there. Just search Mark White podcast, and that's their manager, chairman, owner. He does the whole lot pretty much. Just search videos out there, and you'll find loads of videos about their history, etc. But basically, brief synopsis is Dorking Wanderers are a club founded by a man called Mark White, and they're based in Dorking, of course. And it was basically a
Funny
group of
that.
mates again. Funny that, isn't it? Yeah. They were basically this group of mates who were sick of going to Premier League football. I think they supported Wimbledon at the time. The real Wimbledon, though, not the AFC club, the original Wimbledon. And then they were sick of going to that. So they thought, let's just make a club. Started in the bottom tier of English football. I think it was a Crawley District League, 17th tier, something like that. And then they worked their all the way up. They were in National League, which was the one below League Two as of last year. Got relegated to Eastbourne League this year. But they're a club that have now used social media quite effectively. And for most of their journey, they just did it off their own back, basically just getting promotion after promotion each year, pretty much, through like just good management, I guess, from Mark White. But then when they got to, I think it was the National League South, they started doing this Bunch of Amateurs documentary. It's an independent guy. He comes in and films the games, and the insight into non-league is like insanely good. Like it's like nothing you've probably seen before. Mark White is a character he's a character. Let's put it that way. He says it straight. He doesn't mince his words, and they do basically to get completely raw access to the changing room, what is said, the tactics on the bench, how he manages situations with players, his views on referees. Yeah, and as I say, he doesn't mince his words, so it's quite funny. It's quite entertaining. He's a bit of a character. I'd say he's box office, Mark White. But yeah, they've used social media to grow the club. Really, loads
Mhm.
of people will like come around all around the country to go watch the club. Myself and my mate Bob, we went down to watch them when Borough didn't have a game one week. And yeah, it's just a really nice club. And they've used social media to try and grow their influence, mate. So there's another good example of how it's used.
Would you say, obviously, I'm on the fence for this, so I won't know a lot. But one of the questions, probably viewers and outside of Dorking, fans will enjoy, and obviously you've told me about it for ages, so it's something I would probably enjoy. But would it be for fans for Dorking? It was kind of like the Watford thing with like Ben Foster back a few years ago. So, it's
Yeah.
embarrassed. It was embarrassing for the club. Is it embarrassing for the club when it goes wrong though? That is the problem.
I think for Mark White and Dorking, and probably the fans as well. I can't speak for them, of course, because I'm not a fan of Dorking. But I think as much as you've got to demonstrate the highs, you've got to demonstrate the lows as well, because that's football. Like, you can't be just putting out your good wins, and I think there's Ben Foster. I did like Ben Foster for what he did, because he used his YouTube channel, didn't he, to like sort of show videos and GoPro clips and that. But he didn't post videos when they lost for Wrexham, which is like, I don't know, I don't really get on board with that. It's like, I think if you're going to put stuff out there, you put win or lose. You lose 4-0, you win 5-0, you put it out there. So I think Dorking, they got relegated on camera, mate, and albeit it's a bit more embarrassing than everyone can see, but everyone understands their journey. It's not like you've gone to remember Sunderland Till I Die, and it was a shambles because they thought they started recording in Championship, didn't they? And they thought they were going to go up straight away, and they went down to League One. That's the sort of thing that's embarrassing. I think they didn't mean, they didn't mean to capture relegation. They wanted to capture a promotion. But Dorking, they just show it how it is, mate. And if they go down, they'll come back up probably. So yeah, you just got to take the rough with the smooth, really, haven't
you? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Yeah. And great TV that was Sunderland Till I Die.
I haven't watched it, to be fair. That's one of the ones I haven't watched, so I might have to get on that at some point.
Yeah, we might have to get it. It's been out for years now.
It has now, mate. Yeah, I just sort of never watched it, really. It's one of those ones that just never started watching.
Season 1 and season 2 were very good. That's what I must say.
I can imagine. I can imagine. I'm losing quite a lot, getting annoyed.
But no, obviously that was Ben Foster, another huge influencer on this trajectory in social media. And he's filmed a lot of the Championship games, and when they came up, Watford, just after COVID.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
He said this on record. He wasn't allowed to film all the Premier because the Premier League wouldn't allow him.
No,
because of like sponsorships and the rights.
Yeah,
I just think that's a criminal shame.
It would have been box office, wouldn't it? Premier League footage in a GoPro. Because even when he did it on the Championship, there was COVID. Obviously, there's no fans, so it was still good. But like, it'd been amazing with the fans in the background as well. You can hear all the names they call the goalkeepers and that. It would have been good entertainment. Not that we can condone that, of course.
We'll see. But he loves a bit of the banter.
Yeah, mate. As a goalkeeper, you have to love the banter, don't you? You can't really not. If you hate the banter, goalkeeper's not for you.
Obviously, it was all those memes as well. It's like when Salah scored that goal against a few years ago. It's just like, that Mo Salah guy's a freaking legend.
He's a freaking legend. Love him. What a bloke. Top man.
I think he actually got his shirt that day as well.
He did, didn't he? Yeah. I think he scored like a couple of passes and then he got his shirt anyway. Yeah, Big Basler on the coach as well. Go on, man. Big Basler. What a freaking legend.
Well, obviously, then there was a tussle with Watford over that, and then there was like huge disagreements, and he's talked about that on record as well.
Yeah.
But I said I could see both sides, but he did post. Well, he posted when they lost to the Etihad 4-1, so he did show the bad side as well.
Yeah, that's good. I like Fozzie as well. He's always a good character, isn't he? Quite down to earth.
He wasn't the greatest for United, but obviously he's a great guy anyway.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, so Dorking, love a bit of Dorking. I'd recommend go watch a bunch of amateurs if you got a spare, I don't know, 24 hours, because there's tons of content on there. Probably at least two days worth.
I don't think anyone's got a spare 24.
You might do, mate. Never know.
Never know.
Never know. Go a binge session. I think there's 5 series now, 4 or 5 series. But I recommend thoroughly season 2 and season 4, my favourite ones.
Yeah, have to jump on that train and get to the end of that 4th or 5th season. And we have reached the end of the first half of the podcast, where we will return soon to talk about Deadpool. No, we mean Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. And Wolverine in there as well. We're going to do a full
Deadpool owning Wrexham.
I'm doing a full review of the film that's come out recently.
Yeah, it was Deadpool and Wolverine. Here is the podcast, even though it's been out for a number of weeks and most people have probably already watched it.
And they're not coming here to watch it either because they're a football content podcast. So
exactly. Film reviews are available elsewhere, but we will be back in the second half to talk about that. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the second half of the Talking Football podcast, where we're talking about Deadpool number 3.
Absolutely, mate. Let's crack on. I haven't watched the film, but I'm an expert, so that's all good.
Here's my opinion. It's not very... No.
Don't watch it.
Of course, we're talking about Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, the owners of Wrexham FC.
Or Ryan Reynolds and that other guy, as he's referred to in the documentary quite a lot.
Rob
No one knows what
McElhenney
Rob is.
is Rob McElhenney. I can't even
Rob
spell his name
McElhenney.
now. Rob
Yeah,
McElhenney. There you go.
bit of a tongue twister, on mate, for you.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of
That'd be good for
So,
the vocal warm-ups.
so Wrexham, a bit more of a recent example of a club that's used social media or more sort of TV, I guess, to their advantage. Brief history on Wrexham. They're a sort of lower end League Two club, would you say? Sort of, well, maybe not lower end, but sort of they're
League
third or
One
fourth
now.
tier club. Yeah, but traditionally, they're sort of lower ends of the football league, aren't they, Wrexham? Fell into the National League for like 15 years, and then the Messiah, aka Deadpool, came along to save their entire club, pretty much, and Rob, of course. And they've made the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, which basically just highlights in a much more what's the word? Better production value, let's put it that way, compared to Dawkins. It's a bit
Yeah.
more high quality, but still equally as good, I think. And it basically just demonstrates their progress as a football club to get them back up to the Football League, and then now they're pushing for the Championship, aren't they, in League One?
Absolutely. If they get out, I mean, they've had a good start to the season.
Oh, in bad, to be fair, have they? I think they've got three wins so far, haven't they? 2 wins, something like that.
I think so. Oh, they won their first game,
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
remember.
No, they're doing well. They're doing well. But Wrexham, they're really a club that Rob and Ryan, they picked them really well because before I've watched a documentary up till season 2, pretty much, which is basically when they get out of the National League effectively. And beforehand, before Rob and Ryan came in, the Wrexham as a town was just really down, to us, like economically deprived, not a lot of hope, I guess, in the area. No one really enjoyed going to watch football, but felt they had to, sort of thing. Tendencies weren't that great, still like 3,000 or 4,000, which for Wrexham isn't amazing. But then Ryan and Rob came in, they've really just sort of rejuvenated the entire area. People come to the town now, businesses thrive, the club's thriving. So it's a really good thing, to see. And yeah, they just use social media in terms of the documentary to showcase that.
But I'll say one of the level things that are leveled against Rob and Ryan is that obviously they're this kind of like the Man City and Newcastle thing is that they're putting thousands and millions of pounds into the club and they're buying their way basically. They're
Yep.
buying football.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty much. I mean, what Paul Mullin was the League Two top scorer, I think, before they brought him in, or League One score. He scored a lot of goals, basically, like 2 leagues above, pretty much. And then they were like, "Yep, thank you very much. We'll have him."
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely should not have been playing National League level. Equally, like Elliot Lee, Ollie Palmer, all these players that have dropped down from League One, League Two clubs, and as you say, sort of they bought the league essentially in the end.
Who
But
doesn't these days?
no, exactly. You got to, at the end of the day, mate, no matter how you get your money, you got to sort of have money nowadays, or you're not really going to get much success. You got to have some sort of model to get money. If that means bringing in massive sponsors like, what's the blooming travel company they've got sponsoring now in, can't think they're called now. They're front of shirt sponsored like US Airlines, something like that. And probably not the name of them, but they've got some big sponsorship deals nowadays, Wrexham. You got to have some way to get money, haven't you? But as you say, that's come with a lot of spite from other fans. People hate Wrexham now. Well, some of them people. I don't personally hate them, but some people hate them now because they've bought the league or they don't like the fact they're owned by 2 massive American or Canadian superstars.
I think obviously there's good and like bad reasons to why they was bought. Obviously, you say Man City have done it, Newcastle have done it, everyone's doing it. You could say, oh, in the 90s, football was bought because the Premier League. That's why the Premier League happened was about money.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and you
yeah.
say, oh, because we were spending, but we weren't spending money in the 90s and the late and the early 2000s like what Man City, even Wrexham to their
Mm-hmm.
budgets that they can do. Is that was the strategy used to keep a team for every few years and then refresh only when needed. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, let's spend a 50 million here every year, 50 million on fullbacks, another fullback. It's like, oh, we're just trying to get loads of players every year to get promoted in Wrexham's case. It's
Mm-hmm.
but I think for players, why wouldn't you want to join Wrexham if you were given the opportunity? Even if you were from that high level, why wouldn't you want to join with 2 world famous people on the board?
And the chance to be part of something that's quite special, really. Like, no offense to the other clubs in League Two, but you're probably not going to get the same sort of story playing for them. Whereas if you drop down to National League for a year, get promotion, you're a hero, aren't you? Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's only a good thing for like the Welsh area, Welsh football. They've revived the racecourse grounds. It was like really run down before. Now they've sort of bring in a new stand. So yeah, I don't see how it's a bad thing, mate. But I can understand how it's frustrating as a fan of a club in that league to be like, oh well, Wrexham in that league now, so it's sort of got no chance. But at the end of the day, mate, if you don't spend money, then you're not going to get very far, are you? A football club that's sustainable probably isn't doing very well on the table. That's sort of how it is, isn't it? You've got to spend the money somehow.
Do you think we'll see a surge of more like? Well, obviously we've seen like Tom Brady putting money into Birmingham now,
Yep.
and then Michael B. Jordan putting money into Bournemouth. So I think we'll probably see more film stars and famous people continue to pump more money.
Yeah, maybe so. It's a bit of a trend recently, isn't it? As you say, different clubs are getting those investors in. But yeah, they've got to be prepared to lose a lot of money though, because there's no way Rob and Ryan made a profit out of this. They just do it for the love of the club now, I guess, because it's been really nice to see their transition from picking this club and not really having any connections or ties to Wrexham to now like properly investing in it. And that's, as we said in the last section, you want your owner to be living and dying by your club, don't you? There's nothing worse than having an owner like Southend, for example, who didn't care about the club and then just wants to get money out of it and just basically let it die effectively. Like Bury Town, for example.
Yeah.
Clubs that have sadly died, liquidated because of a poor owner. So I think there's nothing wrong with an owner wants to put money in, as long as they're doing it the right ways. That's the problem with it, mate.
Yeah, that was brilliant. If you haven't read about Wizard Barry, read Gary Neville's The People's Game book. That was a perfect about the Barry situation.
There you go. I'll give it a read, mate. I haven't read it yet, so
it was definitely good because obviously that he's from Barry. That was that part of Greater Manchester.
Yeah.
So it was important to him and his dad, and obviously they went to Barry and helped out a lot. So it's quite important, to, not just Man United to him, but also Barry.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see them back in the pyramid now as well. Obviously, it's a sort of Phoenix club. I'm not sure their name is now. Probably like Bury Town FC. I don't know what they are now, but anyway, they're in the pyramid now at like sort of step 8 or 7, aren't they? I think.
Well, that's another case to people speaking of Gary Neville, Salford as well.
Salford, yeah. Not so much social media based, but I guess because the players have got that such big. The class 92 was it? I guess.
Yeah, class 92.
Class 92, yeah. The likes of Scholes involved in it.
Scholes, it's Scholes, Nicky Butt, Gary Neville, Phil Neville.
Yeah. All the big boys. Yeah, it's a good story of how they've brought themselves up. But they're not really liked that much, Salford, I don't think. I don't even really like Salford.
No.
I think it's mainly because, no offence to Man United, but they're not that, you like the phrase hated, adored, never ignored. No one really ever.
It is our motto.
Like Man United.
It is our motto.
Yeah, so I think because it's Gary Neville and that, people would choose to hate them.
He is like Marmite. You either do love him or you hate him.
Yeah, I don't mind old Gary. I think he's all right.
I don't agree with everything with Gary Neville, but he is a legend.
No, that's life, though, isn't it? You can't agree with everything everyone says. Speaking of that, it's actually a good transition into the. We're going to talk about the social media and how fans like to have arguments, shall we say?
They will argue with a brick wall,
particularly on Twitter.
Yeah.
I try and restrain myself from arguing too much, but I had some bloke the other day, first-hand experience. Right, so this bloke put some predictions out for the Isthmian League, right? And this is a team of like Dover, Dartford, Lewis, etc. And I just put my opinion on there. I just said, "Oh, these clubs look a bit high. I don't think Hashtag will go down." That's what I basically said. And then this bloke, after 5 games, quote tweeted my tweet saying I did that, and he was like, "Oh, this is age like milk, isn't it?" I was like, "Blimey hell, mate! It's 5 games in. People just want an argument, mate. They just want an argument nowadays." That's just how it is, isn't it?
But it's just like, if that's with 5 games, some people have gone back. Also, going back to Oasis, it's like the whole ticket. Someone went back 7 years ago to some person when they were 14 saying, "Oh, I don't get the Oasis hype," and then the person wanted tickets 7 years later. Say it was like, trudge off. It's like, you didn't want them 7 years ago. It's like, mate, I was 14 7 years ago. It's just like I didn't really understand it.
You can change your opinion, can't you? Just because you make something doesn't mean you need to stick by that for life.
And it's just like that. And like as soon as the reunion happened on Monday, it's just like they were never good anyway. I don't know why this is happening. God, it's probably the best thing that's happened in the UK. And like, even if you're not a fan, it's like one of the best, most positive things to actually happen in this country in the past few years. And we're actually going to come together and actually, listen to this brilliant music. And people are still like, "Oh, it's not for me." If it ain't for you, then it's just like It's like the whole Ricky. God, I'm doing all the famous quotes today. It's like seeing on the street like guitar lessons, and you know you don't want it, but you still phone them up saying I don't want guitar lessons. It's just like it's not for you.
There's no
Like
need to be negative. If you don't have something nice to say or like a positive opinion, what's the point in sharing it? You know what I mean?
exactly. It's just like I don't really like this. Well, ain't for you then, is it?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
what's the
it just
point?
drives me nuts. It just drives me nuts, mate. People are just
Hmm.
moaning on social media, or just like this thing I hate about the quote unquote big clubs. Like, there's always these people that just think they represent the club, and they got all these interactions out basically because they just put stuff out there for clicks. Oh,
Yeah.
there's so many accounts out there. I won't name any names. Probably if you go on Twitter, you'll see the accounts I'm referring to here. But they just put out like random waffle or just put other clubs down constantly. I get the rivalry in football all the time, but like, how sad are you to the point where you just spend your whole day on a keyboard, pretty much? Like, you must spend a lot of time on it if you've got over 100k followers. You got to put the tweets out to get the interactions, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, you've got people putting out snipes at other clubs or like this stuff like it's like even like the Brighton and Chelsea fans recently. It's just constant on your timeline. It's like, nah, just give it a rest. You cannot like each other. There's no need to share your opinion all the time, is there? But
It's just
there we go.
people will just argue with a brick wall at this rate.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty
Hmm.
much. But yeah, it's a bit more common culture, isn't it? When clubs, I saw last night Barrow drew Chelsea, I think, in the EFL Cup,
Yeah.
and then all the Chelsea fans, because they're so ignorant, they were like, "Oh, what's a Barrow? I've never heard of Barrow before."
And they've only heard of a wheelbarrow.
Well, probably, mate. Yeah, probably. They probably think it's a new signing, mate. Barrow. They probably think it's a new link.
Wheelbarrow, love that player. I've
Yeah,
never
Will
heard of him
Barrow.
before. Welcome
On a
to your
4-year deal.
43rd man in our squad.
Yeah, he's on a 4-year deal. Oh
They have a
dear. But
9-year
anyway,
deal
just so
knowing
ignorant.
Chelsea.
Yeah, just so ignorant. Like, it doesn't take a second just to like quickly Google what Barrow is. And I get they're not the most big club in the world, are they? But there's only to start calling out little old Barrow, is
It's
there?
like they're still on teletext. It's just like, I'm going to wait for it to appear on teletext. And then it's just
Yeah,
like, you got the internet. It was not 30 years ago.
yeah,
Like, come
that's it,
on.
mate. You can Google stuff quite easily. It's not hard.
Exactly. It's like, we're not stuck in the dark ages anymore.
No, blooming hell. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it just drives me nuts, man. I'm sorry to viewers, it's turning more to a rant, really, to be honest with you. I didn't realise how annoyed I'd get
I'm
about
not,
this.
I'm fuming. I'm absolutely fuming.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Hmm.
Exactly. It's just, yeah, just feel like everyone's having a pop at each other all the time. But anyway, I'm going to start going into a rant about that. Have you got anything else to mention in terms of fans on social media before I, start having steam out my ears?
But also, in terms of the positive side, there are some funny accounts.
Yeah, that's too fair. That's a good shout. It's a good shout.
It's the
Like, you're
people
out.
who, have a laugh with it. Some people will, wind each other, people up on purpose. And it's funny from time to time. But there's some accounts I do follow and go, you are talking absolute rubbish sometimes. But again, that's just life. You're not going to agree with
Mark
everyone.
Goldbridge.
But that offside one the other day.
Oh, did you see my quote tweet to it? I was like, it's still done
You have
deleted.
time to delete this.
I was like, that's such a shocking opinion, mate. Just delete it. Get it off your page,
If
honestly.
Xerxes just moved out of the way, God, we might have actually won.
Yeah, you might have done, to be fair. You might have
Mm,
done. Ribbon, yeah. But yeah, as you
that's
say,
it
there's
for
lots of
another day.
accounts there that put funny stuff out there, isn't it? Like the out of context football stuff. I always like that, put some
Hmm.
random tweet someone's brought up from ages ago or whatever, and just some random scenario that could relate to football. What's the other funny ones out there? Insta troll football. That was always a good one back in the day, wasn't it?
Trey United.
Trey United.
There you go.
He's just a meme at this point,
He's
though, isn't he?
so funny though.
He's just the meme.
It's
Yeah.
just, but he does it for a laugh. He doesn't actually like do it for serious.
No, it's when people take themselves too seriously and start, arguing. That's when it becomes
You
unfunny.
can say Goldbridge, but you can love or hate Goldbridge, but he is hilarious.
In my opinion on Goldbridge is fair play to him. He's earning money from something that's funny. I think it is quite funny, but at the same time, I don't understand how he doesn't go to games at all and just has overreactions about everything. I think he acts like a 12-year-old. Let's be honest. Like he's not an adult, really, is he? In terms of
Secretly,
his
me behind the scenes with a Borough game or a United game. I'm fuming. He's made a mistake on the touchline again. I'm fuming.
yeah, he's just off his head, isn't he? He's off his head, but he's making money from it, and he's having a laugh. So fair play to him.
And where's the heat at the moment? And I'd say, well, God, this is contentious. 7 times out of 10, he's usually, was it correct on top, but there is sometimes where he's not great.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing more than me, mate. I don't really watch it that much.
Well, no, even when you don't watch his rants, the stuff that appears, he is quite level-headed.
Yeah, yeah, he means well. He means well.
He is our podcast rival after all, so we've got to have a little bit contentious.
That is true. We're coming for you, Mark. Don't worry, mate.
But Goldbridge Saves Football, we're coming for you.
It'd be like the Cucurella thing. It'd be like Goldbridge is trembling when he sees Talking Football podcast.
Yeah, we love you, Mark.
Oh,
but I'll say one last thing before we go. We're actually just talking about this before we went on there.
Yep.
Fabrizio Romano.
Fabrizio Romano, man that divides opinions.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go into the debate, I guess.
Now, but there's a better one. Now, here we land.
I thought it was there we land.
Oh, there we land.
See,
I'm totally clued up on social media.
Yeah, mate, you're down with the kids, aren't you?
Oh, you said that. Hello, my fellow kids.
Oh, what a good meme. Good meme. Yeah, I mean, with the here we go debate for Fabrizio Romano, because I was saying to you initially how I was saying off air how Fabrizio Romano, I can understand why he does it because it's journalism. At the end of the day, it's the way it's going on social media. People want information quick, don't they? He's
one of the good ones.
They don't want to wait around for the radio or the newspapers to tell them anymore. It wants to be quick. I understand that. That's absolutely fine. It's just for me like the whole transfer hype sort of killed off a bit. Like, back in the day when like Harry Redknapp would pull up at some bloke's like yeah, exactly. And you get the interview with him and saying he's putting in offer for this player or whatever, or all these stories and that. And now with Romano, it's like, oh, this bloke. You get the whole cycle. You get like, oh, they made an initial approach. They made a bid. It's all very well informed. You get a lot of information, which is obviously good. But then you sort of know all of it. And then by the time the club announces it, it's like, oh, we knew that already about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a lot of hype around transfers nowadays. Like, when Solanke signed for Spurs, I think Spurs put out like their mask with the kit next to it. Solanke's mask he wears to celebrate. Whereas back in like 2014, that would have been like well hype. It'd been like, oh well, Solanke signed for Spurs sort of.
Yeah, it's like when Özil signed for Arsenal, like that entire day of just like the build up. Like you knew there was like talks until it actually happened on deadline day and there was the fans standing outside the Emirates and it went mental. I suppose in like that sort of way, but personally, in like my opinion, I like Fabrizio because with all like the rubbish transfer rumors you get now and stuff, like people report it, like certain news channels report it 2 days later, and you're just like, well, you've just rephrased that and said, oh, according to our reports, we knew that 2 days ago. And that's the thing now. It's like certain channels used to be the leading people, now they're just repeating the same old news you already hear.
Yeah.
So it'd be like from Ornstein or Romano, which like the top two ones that most people agree are the top two journalists in football right now.
Yeah, and the kid that does the There We Land, of course. Don't forget him.
There We Land.
I don't know his name, so I won't.
No, I don't know his name either. It just became a meme.
Exactly. Yeah, as you say, mate, it's like it is nice at least if it's tweeted by most of the time by Fabrizio Romano / David Orsi. It's genuine. Whereas Sky Sports being like, oh, this player's linked to this club for this reason because their nan used to support them back in 1945. Like, you know what I mean? Sort of. I'm not saying that's quite extreme, but. Yeah, there's sort of random.
I wouldn't be surprised with Sky Sports these days, to be honest.
Oh, probably, mate. Probably wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. But yeah, it's like nice to get some updates that are real. But then at the same time, it's like it just sort of ruins the hype. But I guess that's the way it goes, isn't it? You got to have some sort of trade off. Yeah. So then, mate, unless you've got anything more to add on that, I think we're all social media out.
Yeah. So Sky's still good for some things. To be fair, I'm probably being a bit harsh.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Sky Sports notification tweets, mate, so I can't exactly like knock them too much.
Yeah, we can't knock them.
Nah.
We've still got the Premier League.
Still Premier League, and it's got to make sure you pay £30 a month to get your sport in this country. Yeah.
Indoors. But no, we've reached the end of this episode. I hope we all enjoyed. Oh, we actually got to go back to the question. Remember the question we put on the last episode of the Leicester odds? What were the odds on Leicester winning the league back in 2015?
I'm going to say it's good you do remember, mate, because I didn't have a clue. So,
and of course, the answer was 5,000 to 1.
Yeah, never seen again.
And it's that changed betting in football forever.
Yeah, mate, nothing the same. Let's have actually a quick look. I'm interested as what the betting odds are for
This
for
is
this
currently
year.
live.
Yeah, I'm just looking up, mate. I'm just interested now to see what somebody wants to. Oh, I've got to update the app. Well, screw that then.
Live update. Live
I've
update.
been absolutely mugged off by Bet365 here. Absolutely. I'm just going to Google it instead then. Right. Well, who's least likely to win, do you reckon? Odds on Ipswich win the league?
Yeah, it'll probably be Ipswich, won't it?
1,501 to 1. So, like, less than 3 times or the odds of Leicester.
Yeah, it's just changed it forever.
Yeah, mate. 100%.
But we have a question this week.
And the question
I'm
is?
just processing the question. That is
I'm going to
currently
say,
going
you
through
haven't
my
thought
head.
of it, have you? You haven't thought
I'm
of
totally
it.
not saying things so we don't have dead air like last time when I said "oh question" and you're like "oh question."
Yeah, because you sprung it on me, mate. You sprung it on me.
But well, no dead air this time. But the question is, how many titles have Chelsea won in the Premier League era? So if you've never played this on the Spotify game for our Spotify listeners, we'll have the options and you can choose on our poll. And there you go. So how many titles have Chelsea won in the Premier League era? And that will be given the answer next week on the show. Anything to add, Miles? Do you think you could get that right?
Without giving the answer away, because I don't know it. I'll have a quick guess now, because I don't know the answer. I haven't checked it. We haven't pre-planned this question. I don't know, to be honest with you. I wouldn't. My gut says about 5 or 6, but I could be wrong. Something like that. But you guys at home probably know more than I would. So,
Is it 5 or 6? Answer our poll on Spotify, or if you're watching this on YouTube, because we're probably going to put this full episode together here on with the Jay Cullip YouTube channel, then answer it in the comments down below. But yeah, that was the end of our social media episode. I quite enjoyed this one.
yeah, it was good fun, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me.
As always.
As always, remember to follow us on all social media: our TikTok, Talking Football Podcast, and Instagram, and follow our accounts, which are also tagged on several posts on the Talking Football Podcast page. I don't know why I'm lifting up my shirt sleeve then, but there we are.
The audio viewers have no idea what's going on, mate. You could have got away with that.
He's rolling up the sleeve. His job is done.
He's getting to work. He's getting to work.
He's going to work, my other line of work, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining the episode.
Right. Just to clarify, he works in a restaurant. He doesn't do anything like that. That sounded well dodgy, mate.
Thank you for joining us on the Talking Football Podcast, and we will be back next week.
See you later.